Doing pretty good. Just had a long rehearsal, but I'm ready for an even longer series. Really excited for this one. These teams, even though it's the second seed versus the fifth seed, they're actually really even in a lot of regards. So it looks like actually they are going to open up. On the blue side, we have Interns United opening up with Caitlyn and Vlad Barons. Unfortunately for Goon Brigade, they are working with an E-sub, so they're missing two bans. Yeah, I believe they get one ban. And that being said, though, if everyone's shaken up, then I think everyone's on an even playing field here in this semi-final matchup. Yeah. Yeah, his Zillion is absolutely ridiculous to say the least. He makes things happen, takes absolute control over games and just closes them out. He is an absolute monster on Zillion. First pick though on the side of Interns United is going to be the Lee Sin, one of Feeder's, formerly known as Blastona, one of his signature picks, known to play it a lot, does very well in it. And Feeder is going to be the guy that we're going to be looking at for a majority of this series. You know, he's actually got one of the I believe he has the highest first blood of anyone else from the regular season. So the highest first blood across all of Elder League, as well as having fourth for overall regular season in kills. So he's a pretty big playmaker for Interns. Yeah, I like so far the draft from Goon Brigade. Not really showing too much besides the utility focused Ashe 80 carry. You can still kind of top it off with some other support, but they didn't pick the Lulu rather. Lulu's still open for both sides, but I'm not entirely sure how hard they're going to prioritize that. Well, this is going to be fun. They actually, Interns United, lock in that Maokai for Hip Optimus Prime. And I actually haven't seen anyone in Elder League play it yet, so I believe this is the first week that it's been prohibited back into competitive. And on the side of Goon Brigade, looks like they are actually going to hover that Kha'Zix. I'm not entirely a fan of the Kha'Zix picks, just looking at the comp that they've already drafted themselves. I would like to see a tank jungler like a Gragas, maybe even a Sejuani if Zoomless is you know, willing to do that in practice on the Sejuani, because new Sejuani is pretty strong. Sorry to interrupt, but I actually just got word from the coach from Interns United that the Maokai pick is actually a placeholder for Nami, so that would be a Nami support to go along with the Ezreal. Unfortunate. I hope at some point one of these teams picks one of the mid-season tanks. Probably wouldn't be Zac. I would say that Zac's much less strong than he used to be as a result of the changes. Maokai, I think, is in a healthier spot than he was before, but definitely like to see one of those picks, especially Sejuani. I think probably the best one is Sejuani. Yeah, Q's kind of odd, hard to line up. Ooh, there's actually a Rumble pick. That's a pretty ballsy pick for Hip Opt. Yeah, so that would be a Rumble actually going to Hip Optimus rather than the Maokai, because Maokai, once more, is actually a Nami pick, simply a placeholder. I'm not too big a fan of the comp if that's what they're going to go with, so that would be Rumble top, Lee Sin jungle, Orianna mid lane, Ezreal AD carry, and Nami support. They're lacking. They at least they have some sort of engage within Feeder's Lee Sin, and we know that he can definitely perform on that in force fights. But it's still, you know, when you don't have a front line, it's so lacking, and the tools available are so much less so than if you did have one. Yeah, one of the quintessentials. Yeah, definitely some things that need setting up, and it's very, you know, per chance in the moment play when you are playing that Gnar, working around that Gnar bar and trying to coordinate your engages with that, which makes it a little bit more difficult. We are going to get back to the gem select. Once more, Maokai that was locked on the side of Interns United is actually Nami. But again, not entirely too big a fan of the comp that Interns United drafted for themselves. I mean, it's more of a preferential thing, but again, tanks just make things, especially during the mid game where you're starting to move around, so much easier. And a good counter to those tankless comps is to have a pick comp where you can just pick out any squishy members, and it completely takes away a piece of that comp to make it just so much more less successful. Do you remember what the last ban was for Goon Brigades? Before, like in the old champ select, the one before this, because Graves, Caitlyn, Vladimir, and then Goon Brigade. That was for Interns United and Goon Brigade. I forget what their last ban was. Zillion, yeah. Yeah, this one's rife with burst, pick potential, and death ball, you know, just transitioning around the map and trying to make picks happen. I'm not entirely a fan of brand support, at least within Ash. I would like to see something a little bit more hard engage, but it seems like both these teams are working with very little hard engage or even a tanky frontline, which sort of puts it on an even playing field. But then it comes down to the wire of who can execute that kind of comp better than their opponent. Yeah. That being said, though, Interns United do have some very strong performers on their team. Those would be Feeder and Corn the Cat, who have continuously performed really, really well. I believe Corn the Cat actually has, yeah, the 4th highest kills And actually, kind of the aside matchup would actually be between the supports between HM and PP or HMTKD and PP Fishing, where Fishing actually has second highest KDA for the regular season, second highest kill participation, and highest wards placed per game. And HMTKD has the number one highest assists and fourth highest KD for the regular season. So these are all very well established players that perform at the top of their game consistently. Yeah, so we've seen PP Fishing last series in the quarterfinals played Brand, Thresh, I believe, for the two main ones, who's just landing hook after hook, just disgusting levels of accuracy on both those champions, and then put them on a Brand. I find it to be a little bit curious. I'm not sure how much he's played this champion before. However, I do like Ash Brand versus Ezreal Nami, because that's a lot of kill pressure for that Nami, and PP Fishing did take Ignite, so it looks like he might actually be trying to fish for that Nami and be getting fed off of her. Yep, and before we get into this one, just to let you guys know, the players of this semi-final series are Hip Optimus for Interns United going to the jungle, Feeder, Corn the Cat in the mid lane, Come On Shoot Faster as AD carry, and HMTKD as their support. Yeah, the AD carry, off the top of my head, AD carry is Death Holy, where support is PP Fishing. Now, just to let you guys know, Death Holy is actually an E-sub. Their main, or their starting AD carry is Fugnuggler, who will be going into the mid lane, and so that's why they lost 2 bans, because of a role swap and the unplanned sub. So as we load into this one, we can get to see the Keystone Masters that each player went with. Looks like it is going to be pretty standard all around. Pretty much the only one to note is VR Consig went for Fervor of Battle on Gnar into this Rumble matchup, which I think it's a pretty good pick, considering you have a lot of room to poke with in that range to melee matchup, and then Grasp of the Undying, maybe if you wanted to go, preferential thing, if you wanted to go into the Resolve tree to be a little bit tanky for his team, considering that he does have a lot of damage in the rest of the lineup on the side of Goon Brigade. He could have went that way, but going for the damage in the laning phase. Now, just to give a little background on all these players, Feeder, formerly known as Blastona, has just, time and time again, it's going to be him. You guys need to be watching him to see where the leads lie. I believe a lot of the success on Interns United rests within him. Has the highest number of first bloods, but oddly enough, Interns United have the lowest amount of first bloods in their games across the regular season out of all the teams. They are literally bottom for first bloods, but their jungler has the highest amount of first bloods in the league, which is mind-boggling. And then they actually have the highest, or one of the highest first tower rates. So they have 35% first blood rate and then 65% first tower rate. It's really interesting. They seem to forfeit a little bit of their early game to get that early tower, or maybe they just have a weaker early game and then kind of whip back and play a stronger mid and late game. Yeah, definitely beneficial in that regard. Riot did release out some statistics talking about the win rate for first bloods, or teams with first bloods, and win rates for teams that have acquired first turret. I believe 65% of teams that acquire first turret go on to close out the game in a win.
30 seconds until minions spawn.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see how the Zoomaless Fugnugler synergy is going to go, because we already know that Karin the Cat and Feeder are a well-established duo, constantly carrying their teams to victory. But I have a feeling that Feeder is going to want to go for an early invade on the Zoomaless. Yeah, and that Raptor ward is super important. It isn't going to be able to time when Zoomaless gets to his Raptors, I don't believe, but it still should give them a good amount of information to play this early game from. I highly doubt. I mean, these teams, I imagine, would both be playing very conservatively, you know, because it is playoffs. This is where all these matchups and playing with high success rate plays of really matter. So I don't believe that either team's going to go for something extremely risky without the backup of their jungler. We're already seeing VR Consig. Yeah, VR Consig, namely, he just likes to play, you know, on the edge. He likes to live like Larry. Constantly playing with a little health, but here's the invade from Feeder. Actually, he's able to steal away that red buff using that level advantage that he had over Zoomlo. So he's gonna get a 3 buff start. That's gonna be pretty big hit. Yeah, that's a pretty huge hit to the XP into the gold and just overall potential pressure that could come out from Zoomalos. So already, Feeder and the rest of the Interns United putting themselves into a good lead. And he's back again, contesting their Krugs. He actually stole the big one. A Q combo with a few autos should finish off Zoomalus, but Feeder looks like he's going to try to get out of that one. Or just keep playing a yo-yo with his enemy jungler. Feeder is so irritating. This is how awful it is to play against a really good Lee Sin. Yep, here comes Feeder though. Beyond the Fugnugler. Oh! Yeah, Feeder tried to get in range for the second part of the Resonating Strike by flashing towards it, but by then, because of the Gravity Field stun, it had already cooled off. It's Flash for Ghost, not exactly equal, but it should help out Corrin in this laning phase. Yeah, I think it would have... Not sure you anticipated the stun being that long. I would have imagined that if he were to do that play again, he would probably flash to the other side of the gravity field and then connect that kick. But oh, that's so unfortunate. It's literally seconds made the difference, like fractions of a second rather, made the difference on whether or not his Fugnugler was going to go down to that gank or not. Yeah, juicy. Indeed, and it's not really what I would have expected from this range melee matchup, but I mean, it is range, but Consig as a Gnar doesn't have very high auto attack range, so it's about the same. I think it's a little bit smaller than the Flame Spitter. Yeah, Sumulus is on a ward. Oh, that just timed out. That's unfortunate. If you just this is again like just seconds making the difference. If that ward had been gone a little bit sooner, you actually could have made that gank work. But this is just demonstrating how docile this early game is so far. 5 minutes, almost 6 minutes in, only a flash and a ghost being burned. Yeah, absolutely, and they might just have to resort to all-ins once they hit that level 6, which their all-in potential is still quite strong once they get their ultis. It's a pretty big spike. So, yeah, absolutely, and to sort of as we crest the 10-minute mark, sitting at 7, gonna approach very soon. It's been a little bit of a slow game. It's fairly even across all sides, except for the jungle, where Feeder has a pretty substantial XP lead over Zumulus, an entire level, and then in the bot lane, where Death Holy, never mind, Gnar onto. Yeah, a lot of HP and a lot of pressure to come after that trade, and goes very heavily towards the side of VR Consec. He could be able to actually force out the TP and force out Hip Optimus this out of this lane, so he has to back and heal. Might stay though, doesn't have any potions. Yeah, and right now, I doubt Feeder knows this, but Zumulus is actually has not hit 6 yet and is actually on a back. So if there's any time for Feeder to gank and all in completely with no risk of a counter gank, it is now. Oof. Yeah, a very extremely well disciplined play from Feeder there. You saw him hold his ulti. Oh, oh, Mega Gnar or Small Gnar? Not gonna happen. Yeah, these are very ult-reliant comps on the side of Interns United. We have the Brand ulti, the Shock Arrow. Ooh. Oh! Yeah, I like that fishing flashed in, tried to get the trade kill, but still a little bit overreach, a little bit of an overreach coming in from the Goon Brigade, and this could be translated into an Infernal Drake, which that would be pretty monumental. Yeah. Feeder trying to do a really good job of zoning him off. All it takes is one more combo. He's not able to get in. He's sitting on a ward. Yeah, unfortunate. Should have just let that dragon go. Extremely difficult steal to happen from Zumulus, but I mean, I can understand. It's understandable to make that mistake. But yeah, as we've hit these level 6s, all the action has come to fall, and VR Consec actually gets the first tower of the game. It's pretty big for this kind of slow-paced match. You want all these incremental small advantages, and that's definitely one of them. With that tower tech, actually, it is going to even up the gold where Interns United had 4 kill lead, which ended up equalizing a tower. So now should start to see a little bit more roaming, a little bit more action now that we have all these ultimates. That 2-0-2 Fort Feeder performing quite well on that champion. Corn the Cat similar with 2-0-0 on him. I think the next play to happen is Zoomaless try to make it. See, this is why we talk about tankless comps during the mid game, because as that first tower has fallen, opens up the map a lot more and gives Zoomaless a lot more space to move around and try to force things. If he was a tank jungler, with the advantage that they have in the bot lane, if they were to just dive this tower, peel back off it, or dive, 3-man dive the bot lane as Goon Brigade, then back off and then just take the tower, and then you can just keep doing that from lane to lane, because it's going to be so difficult. There's no way that they're ever going to get that mid lane tower down with on either side, with Victor's classic wave clearance similar with Orianna. It's going to be so difficult. It's probably going to take a dive or definitely a numbers advantage to get that tower down, but VR Contact is putting some heavy damage. Ooh, and there's no blast cone. Yeah, the red smite. Yeah, it was the red smite. They were actually able to secure the Rift Herald, so with Optimus Prime. Yeah, that's actually a huge swing for Interns United. That's going to get at least that outer tower down, so Zoomaless and Goon Brigade need to have some sort of response, because it's going to fall very, very quickly. Yeah. Yeah, a kill for a tower, but ultimately a trade in the favor of Interns United. Would have liked to see Zoomaless, since he was already in that bot quadrant, go down and try to potentially make a dive happen. But the amount of damage that they have, kill maybe the Ezreal or the Nami. Yeah, they do have a really good opening where Consig actually wins this side lane matchup, but since they are both without towers, they need their junglers up there to back them up if they want to make some, put some pressure down in there. Yeah, and right now we can see the solo lanes actually from Interns United roaming downwards, but seeing as the pressure from VR Consig, Hipoptimus Prime forced to respond and back. VR Consig has TP, as does Hipoptimus, but there's a chance to make a dive potentially down bot. It would be now. He's actually just going to solo this turret down. There needs to be an answer from Interns United, because he's just going to keep rolling over Hipoptimus Prime in the solo lane. Ooh. Oh, the ball delivery. Yeah, PP fishing roaming up. I think Zoomaless probably going to go down here. Oh, super close. Oh. Yeah, tried to make the return kill. Didn't have an opportunity, but PP fishing is here to respond to this pressure mid lane. Potentially get dove. I mean, both Corrin. Oh! Yeah, this is the mid lane jungle synergy that we were talking about earlier, and that's going to be the mid lane tower fallen. So both solo lane towers down for the Goon Brigade, and all that's next. Oh, he's going pretty low. He could be going down. Oof. Arcane. Oh, True Shot Barrage. Yep. Yeah, Consig. Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say this is huge right now for Goon Brigade to take out the jungler, but hold on. PP fishing. Might be able to get out. Yeah. Fairly certain. Yeah, I was. Did he get caught by the stun? I missed. I was looking at Dragon. Yeah, this is a. Yeah, what you guys are seeing are lots and forth back and lots of back and forth kill trades because Zumos went down so late there, had a really late reset, and that means that Feeder is able to get onto that dragon. I was gonna say at the very beginning of all these kills being traded that since the mid and the jungle were down for Interns United, they could open up an opportunity to take that next Infernal Drake, which is going to be pretty crucial because they don't want to have them stacking on the side of Interns United, but they do get it anyway. But in return, Goon Brigade get a tower for it. So that's all outer turrets down for Interns United. Yeah, it's gonna be difficult. Oh my gosh! Blown up. That is a fried fish right there. Yeah, like you're saying, these Infernal Drakes are gonna start mattering more and more as we get later. Already first item finished for Corn the Cat. He is 5-1. And yeah, there's no. This is gonna be that bot turret down for Goon Brigade. There's no response from them either. They can't make the push top lane. They have pressure and no other waves. Some really good macro play coming from Interns United. They push out all their side waves, and then they just make the dive, go towards bottom. They can get that with 0 response. 6-1 for Corn the Cat. He is definitely going to be such a large issue, and he really already is. He's pumping out so much damage. Which is even worse considering that they're playing with such a low resistance comp on the side of Goon Brigade, so he will be blasting people. Heptopsis Prime might have found himself in a bad spot. The Channel Crystal Arrow comes down. VR Contact is tanking tower, but it doesn't matter. Death Holy is there for the damage, and he goes down. So again, we see Goon Brigades playing around this top side. You know, they got the pressure first, and there was a late response from Interns United, so luckily they were able to pick up that kill. But you know, it's so even right now. Even with 11 kills to 3 turrets, 11 kills, 3 turrets, equalized, still equal in gold. Besides, actually, Goon Brigades have the lead, oddly enough. Oh, never mind, I misread. 32k gold, both sides. Baron gonna be spawning soon. Yeah, it's one of those things where everything, it looks even in gold. 3 towers, almost exactly the same gold numbers, but it's that potential that Corn the Cat has. He can just blow people up 6-1 on him, like we just keep harping on about. And the assassination potential, all the damage that it just keeps building and building for Interns United is going to come crashing down on top of Goon Brigade. And that's when you're going to start to see the leads balloon. Even though there aren't any right now, it's the potential. Look at Zumulus popping in. Death Holy is taking a lot of damage. Flame Spreader comes out. He is healing though. That is going to be another Hippopotamus Prime going down. This feels so bad for him, but on the other side, Interns United starting up Baron. Not sure they're tanky enough to keep this one going. If they get some poke damage, oh, big laser from Fugnumber. So many low health bars. Oh, poor Zumulus. Zumulus trying to hop over that wall, thinking that they're going to go that way, but they stayed clumped, possibly trying to catch out HM, but they spotted him out on the ward, so that is going to be the Baron, thwarted by Goon Brigade. But Aviar constantly aggressing onto HM, could find himself in a bad spot here. The bubble does connect, the red buff is ticking. VR Constant jumps forward, the exhaust comes out, but it's not enough, and he connects the last auto attack to secure that kill onto HM. We're seeing the ward control pretty sparse for Goon Brigade. I mean, right now for either team, if they want to keep pressuring, they have to get the wards down, you know, to secure the entrances from jungles to make sure that they don't get flanked, especially if you're Goon Brigade. Getting flanked by a Lee Sin and potential ball delivery is a very, very real threat. So there's going to be a Mountain Drake coming up there, warding around for it. Should help the Baron take. This is definitely one that Goon Brigade want to get. Keep that one out of the hands of Interns United so that they can't keep stacking all these huge Drakes, and that'll put even more damage onto that Baron. They don't even need to be tanky to take down Baron. They can just burn through it right easy.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of options available. Stun coming onto Corrin, though, absolutely shut down.
Oh, that's so big. There's so much gold within Corrin that they could potentially start at Baron if they really wanted to make a ballsy call, but are going to opt for the dragon itself.
Yeah, so now that everybody can hear me, this dragon is a very big opportunity for Goon Brigade to start getting back into this. Earth Dragon does so much for their composition. Once they get to the tower, they do have 3.5 ranged champions, but it is going to help Consig in the split push. The Gnar goes just a bit wide, and now I don't think he's in danger. I think Consig can just walk that one out.
Yeah, I'd like to see. I mean, right now Consig is just a powerhouse dealing so much damage, and he needs to be 2v1'd. There's no way that Hippopotamus is going to be able to take him down. He's just too tanky, he has too many defensive stats. Spectre's Cowl, Maw of Malamortis, nearly. So I'd like to see a true split push organization come out from Goon Brigade, since they are working with one, but it's on a timer now, you know.
I mean, this split push is actually going to win them the game at this point, because Hip-Hop can't do anything about it, and they're not getting the cohesive response they need.
Yeah,
so if they can just
the uneven numbers advantage over VR Consig, but that opens up Goon Brigade to make a response, shove down mid, shove down bot, if they dedicate too many members. So it's a very delicate balance between how many resources they dedicate to dealing with Consig.
Consig, though, he's in mini form, so he does take a fair bit of damage, though. He could end up going for this. Yeah, if that boomerang had landed, we would have seen him jump in there. Feeder, though, finding Brand on the offside, instantly stunned, and now it's Feeder versus the world. The slow comes in, Enchanted Crystal Arrow not going to land. PP Fishing, whew, almost pulling Gromp in with him.
Yeah, it nearly went down there. I'd like to see Zumulus get a sweeper so that they can clear out some of that vision, make that kind of fight a little bit easier to deal with. Because if they fight in the jungle like that, that's really, really dangerous to them with Equalizer and Shockwave potential.
Yeah, they do get that out of the way, though. They're going to get a tower. They're going to get a blue buff. Possibly. This blue buff gets auto-sniped by Corrin.
Pretty, you know, that's nice to not add insult to injury, but already we see Hippopotamus making the transition towards bot lane. Gonna let his AD carry shove out that top lane. VR Consig making the good response. I mean, this is just, you know, textbook, which you really want to be doing in this situation as Goon Brigades. You know, since they have that tower down, just put your top laner in the bot lane, switch it, do the same thing. Shove out mid, shove out top, let Consig get the pressure and just dive it.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing some fairly sizable CS differentials in the bottom lane, in the top lane, roughly 30 to 40 CS aside, and it kind of matters. I mean, Ashe does lots of damage. Ashe is at 2 items, going for her 3rd, and that's going to be very efficient heading into these tankless team fights, whereas Ezreal hasn't even finished his Mirror Mana yet, needs to get that going pretty much now if he wants to be able to poke out in these team fights.
Yeah, and you spoke once more about these tankless comps, but if you're Goon Brigades, you don't really need a tank if you just can kill a threat. I mean, the best defense for them right now is more offense, so that they can delete Corrin like they did in that one river pick. If they can keep doing that, they're definitely on their way, and on their way they are to victory. 3,000 gold lead for them.
Yeah, the problem right now is that there's so much wave clear available for Interns United. They have the Orianna, they have the Lee Sin, they have the Nami, they have, you know, the Rumble. There's just so much going for them, like, wave clear wise, that it's going to be very hard once these last 2 tier 2 towers go down. It's going to be extremely hard for Goon Brigade to get anywhere near those towers without Baron buff.
Yeah, and Goon Brigade, your Consig once more pressuring on this tower, and there's nary a response from Interns United, just sort of letting it happen. I'm not really sure what they're doing or how they think that they should deal with this, but Fugnuggler might
Fugnuggler's
be really
gonna get engaged upon. There's the resonating strike. The flash kick comes in, but there's no help. Fugnuggler does not have a way into this fight. Shockwave is gonna sombrero. Nuggler with the ghost flash combo is able to get out.
That was so close. A good gravity field from Fugnuggler to thwart that engage as well, and it looks like they're going to take that loss, try to translate into another dive bot lane, but already they've peeled off of that tower.
So that's a lot of utility burn. They got the Lee Sin flash, the Dragon Rage kick, and the Shockwave. Hippopotamus getting engaged upon here. Eats the wallop, eats the Gnar, eats the boulder. Feeder's going to poke his head into the lane and say, hey, you okay, buddy? And he decides he can live for another fight. However, lots of people are showing up in this bottom lane now.
Yeah, they do have the pressure mid. Goon Brigades have that tower low as well, so this is
PP Fishing is going to get engaged upon, though, and just annihilated by the Dissonance.
Yeah, and that's the issue right now for Goon Brigade. They don't have enough vision coverage.
Tidal Wave coming in, does land onto Nuggler, and Enchanted Crystal Arrow is going to stop Feeder for now, but Nuggler is so caught. Can't get out of that. True Shot Barrage seals the deal. Consig now trying to get this tower, but there's no minions for him to hide behind.
It looks like Interns United are actually going to go for that bot tier 2 trade in favor of Baron, it seems. But that tower is definitely going to fall as soon as VR Consig hits mini form.
Now, we see the Ashe Kha'Zix moping around near that Baron.
This is dangerous for Interns.
Yeah, I'm wondering if the Kha'Zix is going to make a jump in. Oh, there's so much damage onto HM. Baron gets smited by the Interns United. There's the Shockwave onto solo Kha'Zix. There's the solo kill in the bottom lane. Meanwhile, at the Baron pit, it is disaster for Goon Brigade. They didn't get the Baron. They didn't get the kills. They didn't even get the tower yet.
So close for Zoomless to steal that, and almost nearly a one fight if Goon Brigade just had one more person. If they had PP Fishing, if he hadn't got caught there in that south jungle near those raptors, that would definitely have been a one fight and potentially a successful Baron steer from Zoomless.
They didn't even get the bottom lane tower. So they went Baron, 4 kills. Yep, 4 kills. Baron and 4 kills for nothing. They got the 2 kills on the Hip Hop and HM. So a 4 for 2 trade with Baron. I don't think I take that.
Yeah, and this is looking pretty bleak right now if you're a Goon Brigade. They were playing with such a good lead, but a lack of vision denial and good vision control led to them getting caught out, and that translated into a Baron.
And this is actually really weird because it's 3 to 4 in towers, 15 to 12 in kills, with a dead even gold differential.
Yeah, a lot of that is within Consig. Look at that CS lead.
The Flame Horizon is approaching, but this Earth Drake does look like it's going to be going over to the Goon Brigade, so that's now 2 Earth Dragons versus 2 Infernals. Team fight versus split push. We'll have to see who is the victor. Enchanted Crystal Arrow is not going to land. Here comes the not wallop. Dragon's Rage gets the 2-man kick. Tidal Wave onto 4 members, however.
Yeah, and right now the only ultimate left are the Equalizer and Shockwave. Enchanted Crystal Arrow did get burned, as did the active camouflage for Zumulus, but still the Storm from Victor and the ulti from PP Fishing. So it's very even in this, even in terms of resources and cooldowns, it's still equal.
And this Baron at this point almost seems like it was more of a denial from Goon Brigade than a pickup for Interns. I mean, they haven't pushed a tower, they haven't gone anywhere near a tower even with this buff, and it's not looking like they're going to even.
Yeah, and that has to do with the fact that they didn't have enough time to shove out and prep those waves so they could translate that Baron into an advantage. But you can see now they're trying to shove down this mid wave. Hip Optimus in that bot lane, but VR Consig in that top lane. So not going to get that one down, no chance. They would need a dive to happen to get this mid lane tower down, and even then it still could go awry with the cooldowns that they don't have. And as I'm saying that, they are coming up very soon.
They're actually all up, I believe. Tidal Wave still has a couple more seconds. Other than that, the Interns are ready to go. But things are looking tight right now. They're finally connecting onto a tower, but there's no members here. They're rotating to the bot lane. We do see a recall from Hip Hop coming in.
Yeah, so once more, putting them into this top laner versus top laner matchup that has been continually propelling VR Consig into a further lead. But with the Baron buff should help some of that push. I think they're just going to leave them to their devices. Their top laners, just stick them on the island. We'll try to win the game.
Yeah, but the problem is, we've said it time and time again, Hip Hop can't stand up to Consig. The best he can do is clear these waves and lose bit by bit onto the tower. But right now, we do see this second tower, though. Now there's only one tier 2 remaining if you're the Goon Brigade. The Gnar comes in. Wallop is not going to land. Hip Hop taken super low. Does overheat. He's not winning this team fight, even with the tower on his side. Boomerang is not going to connect, though.
So close.
And now Consig is going to get the Mauve Malmodius flash. Resonating Strike seals the deal. Feeder takes a kill for his own.
That's so unfortunate they don't have their largest gold lead right now.
Oh!
My gosh. That was like 1,000,000 damage. Like, I counted on my fingers. Exactly 1,000,000 damage.
And
that just went on to PP Fucknuckler.
He actually killed him with the command shield. Not even a damage ability. He killed him with a shield.
Yeah, I wish I could see it, but I have a feeling that Corin the Cat is probably sitting on 1,000,000 AP. 2 Infernal Drakes, has the blue elixir, as well as Void Staff and Rabadon, so he could definitely, this is like almost pentakill territory, like just one good shockwave could just eliminate Goon Brigade entirely.
Yeah, and this is the problem with tankless comps. I mean, we are even seeing it right now. Interns cannot push really effectively onto this tower, but the huge stun onto Come On! He is going to get taken down by the Brand Ultimate. They do trade 1 for 1, and now they're pushing onto the tower. Pillar of Flame not going to land. Stunned up under the tower is Hip Hop, though. He's going to get taken down, and now it's Corin versus the world. Consig forces the flash over the wall. Enchanted Crystal Arrow is going to land onto Consig. What more can they do? So much damage onto Death Holy. The flash laser from Fognuggler, though, just isn't enough. Now they're trying to get away. Consig, though, still so healthy, still so bold. Can he get in here? He has jump available. There's the jump. There's the boomerang. The boomerang does connect. The shield is there. Meanwhile, Feeder's doing what he can. Redemption finally come through. Exhaust into the wallop. Stun into Boulder. HM is going to flash the wall. VR is walking away killless. But what an engagement there.
Yeah, the power behind VR Consig. Interns United, to see him coming in, they all get into full retreat mode. That's all summoners burned for Corin, Comanche Fastener, and HM in that skirmish. That's just how strong he is and how much they fear Consig.
It's all Summoner's brand for everybody. Hip Hop is completely out. Feeder, it has no flash. He used it trying to get the jump onto Zumalis. And then, Corin, Come On, and HM, like you mentioned, all having to burn their abilities to get away from Consig. Whereas looking at the other side, I mean, we still see Flash on Zamulus, Flash Heal on Death Holy. Flash is coming up very, very soon for Fishing, and those could actually change this next team fight.
Yeah, I see them changing the tide of this game very much so. This is going to be that make or break moment in 23 seconds and counting when this Baron comes back up. Those flashes very well mean a dead or alive AD carry or mid laner.
Now, there's no Gnar just yet. There's no Chaos Storm just yet. However, by the time this Baron fight actually goes down, they should be available.
Yeah, the good thing is for Interns United is that they were able to get into the pit first, put some wards down. Right now, both teams actually have wards, and neither of them have denied any vision coverage, so Interns United can see within the jungle of Goon Brigade, but Goon Brigade cannot see within the west jungle of Interns United. So the vision advantage rests heavily within Interns United.
So now this is when you really have to use that Ashe. You really need to use that Hawk Shot, get vision in. There it is. Now that they already know they're there, we see the Hawk Shot just kind of bloop right through. But it's actually very meaningful. Death Holy, though, getting jumped on, gets flashed immediately. All Feeder did was ward up.
Yeah, and right now, Goon Brigade are working against a ticking clock. If you look in the bot lane, that is soon going to be crashing onto their bot inhib tower.
Enchanted Crystal Arrow landing on to the Ezreal. What more can they do? In comes Feeder, does get stunned up, dragged back, taken down! Death Holy says, "You're mine today." There's the Zonias for Hip Hop, though. Can he get away? The ultimate from Fishing only connects onto one, but now it is 2 down for Interns. Do Goon Brigade start this Baron? The answer is yes, and they
Absolutely,
are burning through it.
Corn the Cat still has Shockwave, and look at this juicy setup for them.
Come on, Fast is gonna jump in! Shockwave comes down, but it only lands onto one! They're not able to get any kills just yet. Ghosts are sounding across the map, however. And now Corn thinks he has the damage, but so does Nuggler. They're just going to back off.
Trying to get a return kill, but ultimately they need to get the pressure back out. Unfortunately for Goon Brigade, because they were working against that clock, look how huge that minion wave is down bottom. That's going to be knocking on that door.
But Nuggler's already there, and right now, with Come On True Faster dead and so much damage still available for the Goons, they're going to end up taking Elder Drake as well. Now they have the dreaded Elder Baron combo with double Earth Drakes. If they get to a tower right now, it's gone. It's just going to implode.
And quite simply put, this is just Goon Brigade playing more as a team than Interns United. They kept continually getting caught out. You saw Feeder and Hippopotamus Prime die, and they're burning very many summoner spells and ultimates, all for 9. You saw Corn the Cat put the ball onto Comanche Faster. He arcane shifted in there, tried to get a good ulti off it, it didn't really amount to anything. It's just these low success rate plays that Interns United are trying to make happen are falling short.
Yeah, and now it really is time for the Goons to connect, get back together. Enchanted Crystal Arrow back on to Come On Shoot Faster, instantly taken down. They trade 1 for 1 though, shut down onto the Ashe, but VR Consig can still do damage from afar. And look at that. Oh, huge 4-man Shockwave. Can they get any more? They get the GA out of Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix just jumps right back in. Gets Hip Hoppopotamus. The Gnar is now going to land onto HM, but it's not even needed. He gets taken down. The tower goes down as well. Still 4 members available for the Goons to the 1 of the Interns. And look at these towers. They're just going down.
Could be the game. 40-second death timers. 20 on Come On Shoot Faster. 30 on HMTKD. I mean,
Feeder needs to defend with his life. He actually goes in onto Consig, the tankiest member of the team, does get double stunned, gets taken down, ace for the Goon Brigade, and that is going to be game 1 of the semifinals.
Yep, Death Holy saying you all along VR Consig. Feeder in that mid lane jumped in, deleted Death Holy, but the true AD carry was a VR Consig.
Oh no!
Down this Nexus.
Oh.
40 minutes. Gonna pat the score there with a kill onto Come On Shoot Faster, but that is going to seal the deal. Goon Brigade, take it for game 1.
And Come On Shoot Faster comes back to life, takes down 2. Unfortunately, it was 4v1, so he can't make the defense of a lifetime. Does end up going down, but that game was just so crazy back and forth.
Yeah, crazy back and forth, definitely. I mean, at least in terms for Goon Brigade, even though they were the winning team, still some things to polish a little bit. They overextended a little bit towards the end of that fight, didn't have the ward coverage to be extending that far into that, and then Death Holy ultimately gets, you know, jumped on by Feeder's Lee Sin and ulted and ultimately blown up. But even then, Interns United didn't have an answer for VR Contic. He was the one true carry for Goon Brigades, continually pressuring, just getting so strong. Nearly full build. Still, the only unfinished item he had was that Hex Drinker. And, it was his responsibility. He closed it out, and I'm really proud of his performance.
So looking at the damage charts, we see Orianna, Rumble both doing 23,000 damage. They were the highest on the team. They did what they needed to. But 0-6-7 on your top lane Rumble, that's not going to work. If you're going to do that on Rumble, you need a tank. And when, the Lee Sin's the one tanking for you, he's 6'4" and 8. It's not a tanky champion, though. You needed like a Gragas there or Sejuani, Maokai, something that just can soak a lot of damage. Because, looking at his damage taken, Lee Sin was only able to... He took 38,500. That's the highest of his team, the second highest in the game, only behind the tank Gnar. And, you need something beefier.
Yeah, and it comes down to the tank, but also to tools. The tools that, and win conditions. What do Interns United need to win? They need coordinated engages. They need a good vision control to make sure that they don't get flanked when they are trying to make those engages. But if one piece is missing, the whole phalanx for them falls apart. We saw Feeder going in there, sometimes getting caught out, but ultimately having to burn a flash, not having a very great ultimate to line up Corrin's shockwave, and it led to just the rest of that comp falling apart. And they were the ones pushing the buttons and initiating these dives, but ultimately, since they whiffed very frequently, there was the counter engage by Goon Brigades, the Enchanted Crystal Arrow on top of stun from Brand. PP Fishing had a pretty good performance as well, and then they were able to just bounce back and capitalize on those mistakes that Interns United almost handed to him.
Yeah, so now we are going to have to see how these teams rebuild themselves and come back into the next game. And with all that said, we're going to be taking a short break while the teams meet with their coaches, meet with the rest of the teams, and kind of try and figure out something. So stay tuned, guys. We will be right back shortly.